Now, here's the article that I said that we wanted to cover that discusses what was going on in the Senate that particular day, dealing with that definition. All right, now this article is coming, or this publication is coming from the dailyrepublic.com. All right, dailyrepublic.com, and the columnist who wrote this is Colleen Britton. And you can see her, you can see that lovely young lady's photo right there on the page. All right, now it says, which is it, a democracy, mobocracy, or republic? By Colleen Britton. Now, it says Cornell Williams Brooks, president of the NAACP, was asked recently what he thought of the looting and violence in Ferguson, Missouri. He replied, in quotes, "So, if we believe that young people are our future, then we have to stand with the young practitioners of democracy in the streets of Ferguson." Right? So right there we have the president of the NAACP that was saying, right, that we have to stand with these young people who were rioting, that we have to stand with them because they are the future practitioners of democracy. Again, the president of the NAACP obviously believes that we have a democracy here in America. Now, she goes on and she says, really? Are they practicing democracy or mobocracy? Is there a difference? Is there a place for mobocracy in our republic? Now, we already know the answer because we already covered it, that democracy and mobocracy are one of the same. Yes, they are. So it's no difference. But is there a place for mobocracy in our republic? Hell no, there isn't. Now,
no way.
She goes on and says, there is no doubt that he is correct in saying, in quote, young people are our future. But what about their version of democracy in the streets or cities? Is that what our future holds? Anarchy? Well, I should hope not. I don't want anarchy, and I'm sure you don't either, do you, Rodney?
No way.
And I'm sure our listeners don't either. Now, it says this is not a new debate. In fact, it has been raging since the inception of our country. Our founding fathers went out of their way to create a form of government, a republic, built on laws, not a democracy built on majority rule.
The world will again witness the resilience and strength of our democracy.
The president rightly making claims that Hillary Clinton and the DNC were colluding with Russians to disorient our democracy.
What is at stake in all of this is nothing less than our democracy.
But the gravest threat to our democracy right now does not come from any foreign capital. It comes from our own. The gravest threat to democracy in America is President Donald Trump.
Again, majority rule would be democracy, aka mobocracy.
Mobocracy, yeah.
She goes on and she says, James Madison, who was rightly known as the father of the Constitution, wrote in the Federalist number 10, in quotes, democracies have ever been spectacles of turbulence and contention, have ever been found incompatible with personal security or the rights of property, and have in general been as short in their lives as they are violent in their deaths. Y'all hear that? So in other words, he's saying that democracies have never succeeded throughout the history of man, the history of this planet, of civilization. Democracies do not work. This is what James Madison was saying, right? The father of our Constitution.
And that's what I tell the people. And that's what I tell people. It's right here inside. She said, our Constitution doesn't even contain the word democracy. And that's how I catch everybody to talk about democracy and democratic reform of government. I said, well, I give them my Constitution. Right here, I keep it with me. Keep them in my car.
Oh,
keep them in my house. I have an extra copy just in case someone want to jump out there. I say, hey, go read this book. So I said, hey, I give you this book right here. Please find the word democracy in it, and I give you $1,000.
Yeah.
You know, you find the word democratic republic, and I give you $5,000. You know, if you find these two words inside this book right here, because he just read the article that tells you what type of government is guaranteed. So how they tricking us is how they set up democracy versus the republic. They're parallel. You know what I'm saying? Because in the definition of the manual, it says democracy. It didn't mention democracy having elections. It mentioned that republic has elections. So they're talking about democracy, but yet we're still having elections from the republic. So they're creatively intertwining democracy and the republic by using the word republic. By using the word democracy, but they're acting in some ways of the republic until it benefits the people, and they switch back to democracy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's what they're doing. They're weaving in and out, but they're ultimately going to leave the republic on the side. It's really already left on the sideline. Just a few people like this young lady who wrote this article, and many people like Keith and myself, and the brother that just died. What was his name? Dr. Walter Williams.
Yes, Professor at George. Dr. Walter Williams, professor at George Mason University.
Exactly.
In Virginia.
Yeah, it's people like that that's really trying to, because we know the people are confused. You know what I'm saying? So whenever we first learned this information, we would have probably called you stupid. You know what I'm saying? But now that we understand the system in and of its whole as being the system of racism and white supremacy and those who support it. Those who support it is defined. People look like me, people look like Keith, Chinese people, Arab people, everybody of color that's non-white that supports this system is characterized when I say the system of racism and white supremacy and those who support it. So whenever they're supporting this system educates us. It educated me, it educated Keith, you know what I'm saying? So from kindergarten on, it educated our parents, which is why our parents was able to miseducate us before we even went to the system. You know what I'm saying? So they got our parents, grandparents, so we always miseducated, you know what I'm saying, at home, and then we put us out of the school system that would further miseducate us. So the system in and of itself confused us. You know what I'm saying? So although we took the time, years, decades, thousands of hours in law libraries and on the internet, read case law, going to court, we did all this, keep not done all this. You know, the average person don't have time or not willing to sacrifice that because of capitalism. You know what I'm saying? So people, they're not going to sacrifice money, you know, for what they call freedoms. But last I checked, you don't take money with you when you transition out of here. You know what I'm saying? But you will take your knowledge on to wherever you believe that you're going. But you're not going to take $1. You're not going to take their house you buy. You're not going to take their car you buy. And if you're dumb enough to put jewelry in there, I have family or people who was in the funeral business, that don't make it there either. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So in other words, you take the intangible with you, but not the tangible.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So what we're talking about, this democracy thing, how it's so entrenched, how it's so dangerous, and it's dangerous because of those who we look to for governance. People that we put in office are supposed to represent us, but what they're doing, they representing everything in a false light, and they're doing it through took control. You see it right in 1936, 8 years after they had this book. You know what I'm saying? You see it unleashed in the Senate. I'm not talking about in the streets. You know what I'm saying? It's unleashed in the Senate as an elected official. This takeover of what we call democracy versus the republic form of government. So this is a very dangerous state because the people are so entrenched in confusion. You know what I'm saying? People who take their time and study, they are real. They're not as compassionate because they feel as though everybody's supposed to do the same type of study. And I agree and I disagree because it's rough to do what we done. You know what I'm saying? So I have to take that compassion with it, but at the same time, we have a duty to understand once it's presented to you, and that's what we're doing. We're presenting it to you in a way that nobody can overcome what we're saying. And we're putting cash dollars up if any attorney, any politician can overcome what we're saying. And this conversation can go a lot deeper when you really dive into the result of democracy. You know,
Right.
it's the result of this dumbed down.
Well,
You know what I'm
let me
saying?
cut you off right now. I was gonna say that's one of the things the lady was saying when she began the article, as far as what has been taking place in Ferguson, Missouri. You know what I mean, with the riots and the looting and all of the destruction of property. That is democracy. That is mobocracy, man.
That's mobocracy. Yeah, because even with the looting and all that, that's doesn't work. You know, history has shown. Going tearing up your own malls, tearing up your own neighborhood, tearing up your own community, it doesn't work. So now they're trying to take it a step further and try to go towards the malls and not in their communities. That's where they will be slain. So you're really you're setting yourself up to be slain over time, and the fire truck will come wash the streets down with our blood. It was proven just recently as 1968, Washington D.C., when they tore up after the murder, assassination of King, how they came and looted 8th Street.
Right.
You know, my family had property there. We lived there in the 50s, 60s, and all that. So they tore up that mobocracy. You know, that democracy tore their neighborhood up, and then guess what? They left that neighborhood just like that for decades until them white folks were ready to move in and call it gentrification.
Because you know what, Rodney, and see, that's another topic for another day. But liberals, right? And I'm talking about primarily white liberals or white Democrats, right? But also the black ones too, because you got a lot of them that are educated and they know what's up. They benefit from black dysfunction.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go into that soon. You know what I'm saying? Yes, they do. Now,
yeah. And then they wonder why you can't proceed forward as a whole within our community, because our community is systematically divided. But that's a whole nother topic as well.
Agreed. All right, back to the article, y'all. It says our U.S. Constitution does not even contain the word democracy, like Rodney just said. And again, Rodney put the wager out there. So if you can prove it's in there, you can get paid.